viewers around the globe. You have tuned in to Question Time on Islam Live from the Ahlebait studios with your host Naveed Hussain. Our Islamic scholar Syed Muhammad Musawi, alhamdulillah, joins us each week to answer any questions, to clear any misunderstanding about religion of Islam, life in general. Dear viewers, there are many questions that we have in our day-to-day lives that we would need answers for, especially in the uncertain times that we are passing through right now. Therefore, take this opportunity to ask our Islamic scholar any questions, any comments that you would like to share. Syed, a very good evening to you, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and all our brothers and sisters. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. May Allah send His best salutations and blessings on His most humble servants, Muhammad and his holy progeny, Ahlul Bayt. I would like to start this evening with a question. The question is for those who don't want to think properly and those who prefer to prejudge others before going through the evidence. I know some people, when they look at the screen and see a person with amama, they say, oh, he's a Shia, Rizvi. They turn off, or they don't even care. They don't look and don't listen. But I want to ask them simple question. Every Muslim, do you want to follow what Allah said in Quran or not? Of course, everyone will say yes. Second question, do you want to obey the Prophet? Everything will say yes. But I would like to draw your attention to Quranic verses which are very clear, telling us the relationship and the status of Harun from Musa. And on the other hand, look at the authentic hadith from the Prophet who said that the status of Ali from me is like the status of Harun from Musa. My respected Muslim brothers, do you believe in that? You believe in Quran, of course. In Quran, Allah says, وَقَالَ مُوسَى لِأَخِيهِ هَارُونَ اخْلُفْنِي فِي قَوْمِي. Musa told his brother Harun, you are my successor after me in my community. So this is the status of Harun. He is the successor of Musa when Musa is not there. Look at the hadith. Hadith narrated in Bukhari, in Muslim, in Ibn Majah, in Tirmidhi, in Musnad of Ibn Hanbal, in Al-Mustadrak by Nisaburi, in many prominent Sunni books of hadith. The hadith said the Prophet told Ali, oh Ali, you are from me like Harun was from Musa. Does it mean for you anything? It should. Because Allah is telling you in Quran that Harun was the successor of Musa. اخلفني في قومي. Read Quran from beginning till the end and stop on every verse speaking about Musa and Harun and give a thought. Ponder. What is the meaning of this? You will see the real status of Ali ibn Abi Talib from the Prophet. You will find it in Quran. That's why I quote a leading Sunni scholar, Sheikh Mahmoud Abu Raya of Al-Azhar in Cairo, who said after studying this hadith, he became a Shia Muslim. And he said, if Muslims only think and believe and follow this hadith, that the status of Ali is like the status of Harun from Musa, and read Quran, no dispute will remain among Muslims that no one is the real successor of the Prophet after him, but only Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. My dear respected brothers, I don't want to cause any embarrassment to anyone, but I say that I am responsible and you are responsible to follow Quran and the Prophet. And Quran is telling us about the status of Harun from Musa. And the Prophet is telling us that Ali's status from the Prophet is like the status of Harun from Musa. Why not to leave aside our differences and come back to Quran and the Prophet? Quran and the Prophet will unite us. That is the fact. No doubt the Prophet said that I am leaving behind the most important two things, Quran and Ahlul Bayt. My respected brothers, it is very clear for those who are really after the evidence. But some people read Quran, even memorize Quran, but they don't think about it. Allah in Quran mentioned about them, أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا, on their hearts locks. You know, lock, the lock which locks the door. أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنِ, don't they think and ponder on Quranic verses? Or their hearts are being locked. My respected brothers, now we are in the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, and it is recommended every night to pray 2 rak'at of namaz between Maghrib and Isha, in which we recite after Alhamd and Surah. It is recommended namaz of 2 rak'ats, Alhamd and Qul Huwallahu Ahad, and we recite وَوَاعَدْنَا مُوسَى 30 لَيْلَةً. We promised Musa 30 nights, وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ, and we completed it another 10. فَتَمَّ مِيقَاتُ رَبِّهِ 40 لَيْلَةً. So it was completed 40 nights. وَقَالَ مُوسَى لِأَخِيهِ هَارُونَ, Musa told his brother Harun, اخلفني في قومي, you are my successor in my community. We are being reminded in these 10 nights that the successor of Musa is Harun, and the successor of the Prophet Muhammad is Ali ibn Abi Talib. As you know, on the 18th of this month, the declaration of Ghadir is coming, in which the Prophet said in front of thousands of companions, for whomsoever I am the Mawla, Ali is his Mawla. My request to all my brothers and sisters to read Quran with understanding and to follow the Prophet, then no dispute that the real divine leader after the Prophet is none but Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, just going straight into our questions, which we've been sent here. Assalamu alaikum. Number one is keeping children of ages between 8 and 16, especially girls, as house helpers in the house. Is this allowed? Is this not child labor?
We have to look after the children. Poor children, children from poor families should be looked after. We have to look after them. You have to help them we have to give them sympathy and deal with them like our children. We should not misuse their poverty. We should not misuse the poverty of children. So we have to look after the children and help them in every possible way.
Thank you very much indeed. Saying question number 2, is Wadi Barut in Al-Mahra Desert in Yemen, can one go to Wadi Salam and some du'as to see the inhabitants of Wadi Salam? Can we do some special du'as to see the inhabitants of Wadi Salam?
The question about Wadi Salam or Wadi Barahut?
Yeah, so it's a 2-part question. So is the Wadi Barut in Yemen, Al-Mahra Desert? That's the first part of the question. And the second is, are there any du'as to see the inhabitants of Wadi Salam?
Number 1, Wadi Barahut is in the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula. In the southern part of the peninsula of Arabia. Wadi Salam is in Najaf, surrounding Najaf. Dua, there are many du'as to talk to the people in the graves. We have got the ziyarat, Assalamu ala ahli la ilaha illallah. Min ahli la ilaha illallah. It is recommended whenever we see any grave, we recite this salam on the Muslims in the graves. Also, we tell them, Ya Ahl al-Diyar, O persons who are in the graves, who are believers and Muslims, you went before us and we are coming soon after you. We are joining you very soon. About seeing them, that is a matter which needs a lot of details, and no one can guarantee that he can see physical seeing the dead person, but there are ways to be in contact, means to send them gifts, to make them happy with you. That is completely possible. We have got hadiths that when you go to the parents, your parents' grave, they are so happy with you, like when you visit them during their life. When you go there and recite Surah Al-Hamd and 7 times Surah Inna Anzalnahu Fi Laylatul Qadr, Allah will create angels who will remain worshipping Allah till the day of judgment, and the reward will go to the deceased and to you as well. So there are many ways to be in touch with the deceased, but I don't say that you can see them physically. That is not a matter which can be done easily.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. The next question, Assalamu alaikum. Is there a dua by the Ahlul Bayt that I can recite to ask Allah for helping me to go to a workplace where God-fearing and decent human work around me?
Any dua to go to a workplace and
where there are people that are God-fearing people and decent human beings that work around me.
Okay, you have many du'as. One of them, to seek from Allah by the status of Muhammad and his holy progeny Ahlul Bayt, to keep you in the best place which is known to him for you. Allahumma ij'alni haythu tuhib kama tuhib. Oh Allah, keep me wherever you like and keep me in the best way that you like. This is one of the supplications. Oh Allah, keep me the best place you like and in the best situation that you like me to be.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. So that a person who is physically disabled, unable to move his hands or legs, how can he or she perform tahara or wudu, even if tayammum? How can that person perform when he cannot or she cannot move any part of the body?
Islam's rules are based on the ability. If the ability is not there, then the compulsion is not there. Every obligatory act depends on the ability. Whatever the person is able to do, he must do that. Whatever is impossible for him, then he is not responsible to do that. But always there are alternatives. A person who cannot perform wudu, he can perform tayammum. A person who cannot perform ghusl, he can perform tayammum. So it depends on his ability. But a person who cannot move his hand at all, neither ghusl, nor wudu, nor tayammum, then someone else can do wudu for him. Or someone else can do tayammum for him on his body.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. Sayyidina, many of us have sadaqah boxes at home. We put money into the sadaqah boxes, but sometimes it's over a year, the sadaqah boxes are being, filled with sadaqah. Is that a valid form of sadaqah, or what should be done? I mean, is that correct to just put money in a box for sadaqah?
The best is to make the sadaqah reach to the poor. Don't delay the sadaqah deliberately. Sometimes you have no way, no choice. For example, you are in a place that you cannot reach to the poor. So you keep the sadaqah aside. But whenever you are able to send the sadaqah to the poor, you should do that.
Okay.
Sorry, let me continue. In this matter, when you put the money in the sadaqah box, good, with the niyat of sadaqah, but don't delay the process of making the sadaqah reach to the hands of the needy. The sadaqah is done when it reaches to the hands of the needy. Before that, it is suspended. Of course, when you put the money in the sadaqah box, you should not take it back again at all. It is no more your money. It is money of the sadaqah. But do your best to make the money of the sadaqah reach the poor as soon as possible.
And Sayyidina, what is the most virtuous sadaqah? Is it to give it to the poor, give it to someone who's maybe injured? I mean, what's the most high sadaqah a person can give? The most
number one, you should give to your parents if they are in need, then relatives who are poor. The hadith says, لا صدقة وذو رحم محتاج. No sadaqah when any of your relatives is in need. So this is number one. Number two, to whom, apart from your parents and relatives who are in need, whom to give? Give to anyone who is in need. Anyone in need. Orphan, widow, anyone who is in need, helping them is very good and very great.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. Then a question regarding the the wife of the Prophet, Hazrat Aisha, did she raise her voice at the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his holy progeny? Did she argue with the Prophet or raise her voice with the Prophet, in front of the Prophet?
According to many Sunni books, yes. According to many Sunni books, yes.
Okay.
I have more details. In Sunni books, we find that once the Prophet invited number of his companions, and he invited them in the house of another wife. You know, the Prophet had 9 wives. So he invited them in the house of another wife. When Aisha saw the Prophet inviting a number of his companions in the house of another wife, she came with a stone, and she threw the stone on the plate, and she broke the stone, and the food was scattered, and the Prophet said that she became angry. That is in Sunni books. That is in Sunni books. That is one incident. Also, we have got that when she was angry with the Prophet, she did not call him as a prophet. She used to tell him, you are the person who is claiming that you are a prophet. أنت الذي تزعم أنك نبي. This is also in Sunni books, that when Aisha was angry with the Prophet, she used to tell him, you claim that you are a prophet, not that you are a prophet. That also is there. Also, we have got in Sunni books that she was, and sometimes she was raising her voice over the Prophet. And once her father heard her, her father Abu Bakr heard her shouting at the Prophet, and he came and he slapped her. Her father slapped her, telling her, you are shouting at the Prophet. So these are in Sunni books, and there are many other things which you can find it in Sunni books. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, next question is, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
What does Islam say about black magic? Is black magic a thing, and how is it done? And second part of the question is, can a jinn possess you?
Black magic is an evil, and life has got good and bad, and the black magic is part of the evil, that bad in this life. Black magic exists, yes. It is an evil act done by evil people. Yes, that's why we have been taught to recite Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas to protect ourselves, our families from bad things, including black magic. Yes. About jinn possessing, in general, Allah did not let the human beings, Allah did not let them and leave them without protection. The human beings are protected from the evil of jinn. But sometimes some human beings do wrong things which make them weak, and bad jinn can possess them. But in general, usual people are protected by Allah from the possession of jinn. Even if that happens, there are things to be done to drive away the jinn from the possessed person. Number one, reciting azan on the right ear and iqama on the left ear. and at home, every time of azan, recite azan with loud voice, that will drive away any bad thing from the home. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Sayyidina. I believe we have a caller with us. Thank you for waiting. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, brother, please go ahead with the question.
Yeah. My question is this. I have seen this hadith on 92 channels. They keep repeating this hadith about Hazrat Hanzala. Hazrat Hanzala, he was fight against Yazid when he attacked on Medina. And he had 8 sons. They all get shaheed and himself as well. Could you tell me about who was that Hazrat Hanzala?
Hazrat Hanzala. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said he was a malaika coming to give him, wash before he kafan diya, malaika ne aake.
Okay.
These kind of
Yes.
hadiths are just listening from morning.
Sure.
So please, I want to know information about Hanzala.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for your question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hanzala is known as Ghasil al-Malaika. Hanzala was a newly married young man. On the first night or first nights of his wedding, he took part in jihad, protecting Islam and Muslims. He did not have time of ghusl. You know, Medina in the winter is cold place. So maybe it was winter and he was in the state of janaba. So he went and fought and he was being murdered, and the angels gave ghusl to Hanzala in the sky. That's why he was called Ghasilul Malaika, the martyr who was being given ghusl by the angels. This is about Hazrat Hanzala. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed. Sayyidina, I believe next week we obviously also have Yawm Arafah, the day of Arafah. Can you please shed light upon Yawm Arafah, the importance of Yawm Arafah, what one should do? Because obviously it's coming very near now. So if you could shed light upon this day.
Arafah is the 9th day of the Hajj. As you know, the 10th day of the Hajj is Eid al-Adha, Eid Qurban. 9th day of the Hajj is Yawm Arafah, which is one of the great days in the whole year. And we have got many recommended a'mal, ziyarat, dua in the day of Arafah. Mainly ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the day of Arafah. Wherever you are, you just face the direction of Karbala and recite ziyarat. Even if you recite small, short sentence, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam in the day of Arafah is a great reward act. Also, the dua of Imam Hussain alayhi salam in the day of Arafah. Also, the dua of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam in the day of Arafah. And many other a'mal. It is recommended to fast on the 9th of the Hajj if fasting does not make you weak to do the a'mal. The day of Arafah is a day in which Allah accepts the dua. Anyone can seek from Allah his wishes for dunya and akhirat in the day of Arafah. we have got in the hadith that Imam saw a beggar seeking from people on the day of Arafah. Imam told him, are you asking people in this day? In this day in which everyone should ask Allah. Allah grants everyone who asks him. So in the day of Arafah, great chance for every mu'min to seek from Allah every wish for yourself, your parents, your family, your children, your dunya, your akhirat, and most important need which we all have is the reappearance of our Imam Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Al-Sharif. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, what is the consequences of using the services of companies that are enemies of Islam, or do not, or are helping the enemies of Islam?
It is not permissible for any Muslim to help those who kill the innocent. Say, for example, if you know that this company supports the people who kill children in any country, any place, it is not permissible for a Muslim to support them even with 1 pence of money or 1 cent of money. So if you are sure that this company supports those who kill the innocents, we will not be allowed to give them any business and help them or make them make profit from our business at all, because they will use the profit, even if it is very minimal, but they will lose that profit or part of it in doing wrong. So we should not be partnered in killing the innocents like them.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps the believers. We find many verses in the Quran. Does Allah help the unbelievers? Because we find that in today's society, in today's world, there are many non-believers, even enemies of Allah. Is this a help from God, or is it something that's just written in that they are receiving help? How can we define this?
Allah's mercy is 2 types. General mercy, which is on every creature and every human being, good or bad, believer or non-believer. That we call it Rahmaniyah, means the mercy which is general on everyone. Rain comes on the Muslim, on the non-Muslim. Fruits, vegetables, bounties, oxygen, water, business, money. Allah sends His bounties on everyone. There is another type of mercy which is Rahimiyah, the special mercy which only goes on the believers. So Allah's help, Allah's mercy, the general one, goes to everyone. Yes, everyone. But when the mercy of Allah goes to the non-believer, it is not a support to him. It is test, responsibility. He will be questioned. While the mercy of Allah on the believer is a bounty. So in general, Allah's mercy, Allah's bounties, Allah's grace goes to everyone in general and goes to the believers in special, which is added on the general mercy. The believer gets the general mercy and gets the special mercy for the believers, while the non-believer gets the general mercy only.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, regarding the season of Hajj, is it permissible to practice the wajibat that you have to do during the month of Dhul Hajj in your community center? For example, place some like a you could say chairs or a kind of just like a Kaaba, like just to go around it, just to practice sahi and tawaf, just to feel how it will be like before going on Hajj. Can communities set up such events that this is how you do tawaf, you practically do Hajj practically in your own communities, just to get used to a training? Is this permissible?
It is permissible only if you are going for Hajj, and before that you need to learn. So the alim, sometimes they call people and show them how to do tawaf, how to do sa'i, how to do other acts of Hajj. That is a training, not real. But if someone who's not thinking to go for Hajj, there's no point in doing tawaf, because tawaf is only around Kaaba. We cannot go and do tawaf around anything else. We cannot make sa'i in our center because we are not in Hajj and we are not learning. Either we are learning, yes. Not learning, then no. No question of doing something which is designated in Mecca, doing it somewhere else. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyid, the next question is, can you, again, regarding some people who don't know, what is miqat? What is miqat, and what are the rules regarding the ihram at the points of miqat?
You know, miqat, unfortunately this year, this is very, very sad to remember now and to mention that this is the second year Muslims are being deprived from going for Hajj. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Hopefully next year, inshallah, we'll be able to go for Hajj. Those who go for Hajj, there are designated places for starting the ihram. You know, no one can go for Hajj with his usual dress without entering into what we call it state of ihram. The state of ihram starts from designated places, not from our own airport or home. No. Those who live near Mecca, they can start their ihram from their home. They are called in Quran Hadri al-Masjid al-Haram. Those who are near, around Kaaba, around Mecca. People who are living in, say, Jeddah. But those who are living far away from there, say, living in Medina, living in Cairo, living in Beirut, in London, in Karachi, in Bombay, they cannot start their ihram from home, except by nadr. Usually, miqat is a designated place. There are many places. Miqat, not one place. From different directions towards Mecca, there are places. If you are going from Medina to Mecca, then the miqat is called Masjid Shajara, Masjid al-Shajara. If you are going from Jeddah to Mecca, then you go to Juhfa. From Ta'if, you go to As-Sayl. From other places, from Yalamlam. So there are different places. Miqat is designated place for starting the ihram. Ihram starts by number one, the intention of ihram for what worship, either for Hajj or for Umrah. Then we need to start reciting the ihram by talbiya. We say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, inna al-hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka labbaik. This is a talbiya, which is like when we start our namaz, we say Allahu Akbar. You know, Allahu Akbar starts our namaz. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik starts our ihram. And when we start ihram, many things will be forbidden on us. Looking at the mirror, using perfume, any intimate relation between husband and wife, removing hair, removing tooth, taking out blood, many other things. 25 things are not permissible for the person while he is or she is in ihram. For men, men are not allowed to wear any stitched cloth, but women are allowed. The dress of ihram recommended to be white, not obligatory, but usually people wear white ihram. Women can wear her usual dress. Okay, this is the ihram, which is the first step in Hajj or Umrah. After ihram, we go to Mecca and we perform tawaf around the Kaaba. Usually in Hajj, we start with Umrah Tamattu. Umrah Tamattu is the first part of Hajj, and the second part is called Hajj Tamattu. Both of them are called Hajj. Anyway, hopefully, inshallah, in the future, inshallah ta'ala, if Allah grants us life till next year, inshallah, we'll speak about the steps, the practical steps for performing very easy and very clear Hajj, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. I believe we have a caller with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Please go ahead, brother, with your question.
How are you, sir? Can I ask a question from the Sheikh, please?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Bismillah, please.
Go ahead now.
Bismillah,
Okay.
please. Bismillah, please.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum,
Wa alaikum
Sheikh.
assalam, wa alaikum assalam, wa alaikum assalam, alhamdulillah. Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead. Yes, please.
يا شيخ أنا أسألك مسألة واحدة بسيطة.
تفضل.
إن شاء الله وأنا أدعو لك إن شاء الله بصحة جيدة.
Thank you. شكرا. May Allah bless you. Thank you. أحسنت. Yes, بسم الله.
أنا عندي سؤال. My question is a different question, not about the Hajj, not about the
Please go ahead. Go ahead with the question.
And not about the
Go ahead, please. Okay.
My question is about the ayat of Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that فَذَرْهُمْ يَأْكُلُوا وَيَتَمَتَّعُوا وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. This is about the kuffar and mushrikeen. Allah says, leave them, okay? And leave them if they don't listen to you. And soon they will know. And another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, many places, فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمَهُمُ الَّذِي يُوعَدُونَ. So my question is, should, as a Muslim ummah, we invite people to Islam, or we leave them on their i'tiqad and we leave them on their irada and what they want? Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إِنَّنَا عَامِلُونَ فَانْتَظِرْ إِنَّا مُنْتَظِرُونَ. So What is this meaning? You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, invite people or leave them alone. So this is my answer.
Thank you very much for your question.
Okay. Okay. My respected brother, we cannot understand the Quranic verse if we don't read the whole Quran about the same subject. To understand the real rule about any subject, we cannot take one verse ignoring other verses on the same subject. This matter of fadarhum, you see in Quran we have got 6 verses which Allah mentioned, leave them. Who are the people to be left? They are the people who have got the message and they insisted on denying and rejecting the message of Allah. Only those people. Those who don't know, Allah said, ادعو إلى ربك, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك. Call people, invite people to the way of your Lord, بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة, by wisdom and good advice. So we must invite every human being to the light of the truth, which is from the Lord of all, Allah, the Creator. But we should not be upset if some people reject it and insist on rejecting it. Allah tells us, don't worry, leave them now, leave them, they will see the result. This is only for those who insist on denying. But in general, we must invite every human being when we have got possibility that he might accept, then ادعو إلى سبيل ربك, call people to the way of your Lord. We have got a narration from Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, the 5th Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, the 5th Imam. He said, لو كان الأمر لنا أهل البيت لجعلنا على رأس كل جبل رجلا يدعو الناس. If we were free to do, we would have kept on every mountain on this earth a person who invites people to Islam, to the real Islam. So we must invite people with the wisdom and good advice, because the message of Islam is the message of mercy, the mercy for every human being. رحمة للعالمين للناس كافة, for all human beings. So all human beings are partners in this message. We must make the message known to them, reach them, and it is up to them to accept or to reject, but at least they should know about it. Now the main problem of people, that most of people don't know about Islam, or maybe they have got a very wrong image about Islam, wrong message, because of the terrorist groups and because of the political parties and because of the superpowers against Islam. We Muslims must make the message reach to the human beings and leave them decide